KCEP, or the EOB. Welcome to Living Room Sessions, hosted by the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. We will have discussions every second Monday of the month about affordable housing, landlord opportunities, local housing initiatives, sustainable housing programs, local leaders, and affordable housing. So welcome to our show.
Hey, y'all better get up in here. Welcome to Living Room Sessions. It is time to sit down we sitting on the couch today. We ain't on the sofa. We getting real comfortable up in here. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kathi Thomas. I'm the Chief Housing Officer for the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, and I'm here with the big boss, Mr. Lewis Jordan, our Executive Director. How are you, Mr. Jordan?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Good to see you on this Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yes.
We observe that. Want to do a quick land acknowledgement. We are sitting on the historical lands of the Southern Paiute tribe, and we're at the historic Westside School, first integrated school in the state where African American and Native American children went to school together. So we are proud to uplift that history and welcome everybody to the Living Room Sessions.
Great. You know, I'll tell you, when you talk about just recognizing and welcoming, I wanted to give a shout out to the Father and Son show that's on this station.
All right.
Every second Saturday. I listen to Kelsey West and that team.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's amazing the things that are going on in the community that we just don't necessarily pay attention to unless we're paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to call in, but I said one of the first things I would do when I got here was recognize Brother Kelsey West. And there were a few other comedians on, and folks who said they weren't comedians, but
they were funny.
It was entertaining. It was enlightening, and it was surely uplifting. So,
all right, thanks for that. That is always good.
And when we align that with the history that you're bringing, you know, the People's Station is truly the People's Station.
Yeah. Shout out to Pastor West. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Look, I want to touch base. You just got back from some conferences.
Yes.
So you were lifting up the community all over the nation. What's going on with the DC?
Went to a couple things. I was fortunate to be asked to participate in the fly-in.
Yes.
You know, and the DC fly-in, there are over 300 civic, business, educational, the community leaders in Southern Nevada.
Yes.
Instead of waiting for congressional and people to come and see us, we went to see them.
That's right.
What a wonderful opportunity, you know, to sit before our federal delegation. But for us, the big piece for me was I wanted housing to be seen as a part of the business in our community.
Right.
When folks said, Lewis, why are you here? I'm here for two reasons. I'm here to help you understand that as a business, we can support you in building affordable and attainable housing for the people you employ.
Yes. Because
we all know how important the balance between housing and work and the distance in work and where you live. But equally as important, I wanted people to know that I'm here to let you know that I have an array of possible employees for you.
Right.
That will train. We're going to talk about some of that later on today or this morning. But yeah, so to be a part of that conversation, and I want to be very clear, it's not like it had not been a part of the conversation. It's more of a predominant part now.
Right, getting centered in that conversation.
And we, again, over 300 people.
Were you on some panels?
I was gonna say they had an opportunity. My partner, Audra Hammerneck over at Nevada Hand.
Yes.
You know, who's the consummate panel host.
Yeah.
You know, Audra throws some really good questions together, and we sat and we talked about not only attainable housing, we talked about development, and so to be on a panel that that captures the attention of folks, was really, really good. So that was good. I was there, but one of the things that's interesting, DC for a whole week. That's a long time.
That's a long time for DC.
So I, unlike in the past, I probably wore my my dress, my meeting shoes.
Right.
More than my dancing shoes.
That's right. You didn't get them go-go clubs in.
A couple times, Shondell would text and say, "Where are you?" I said, "Man, I'm in the bed." I guess you get to a point in your life where you understand it's not so important to, if you're going to hoot with the owls, you got to be able to soar with the eagles.
That's right.
And what's most important is that you soar with those eagles. So we did that, and then shout out to some of our commissioners who joined me in Phoenix, Arizona for the NARO conference.
Yeah, what is NARO stand for?
National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officers.
Yeah.
NARO is like our premier lobbying group for housing.
It's a professional organization.
Professional organization, and tons of people there, a few thousand people. Had a great time, a lot of training, commissioner training. Looked at, and one of the things that I'm always pleased, at least I'll knock on wood so far, when I go to these trainings and people are talking about all the different things that we're doing.
Yes.
When my bosses look at me and say, "Huh, you already doing that?"
Yeah,
you're already doing that. And it really gives a perspective of, the leadership we have here. Like, for example, people are talking about RAD conversions.
Yes.
Like they just started yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, we're like on our 13, 14.
Exactly. We're going to talk about that this morning.
Yeah. So it really speaks to that. And it also gives the commissioners an opportunity to mix and mingle. Mm-hmm. Some will say, while the workshops are important, just sitting in the lobby, having dinner, we were able to have a really nice dinner with our counterparts from Charleston, South Carolina.
Right.
Our board attorney, Teddy Parker, who represents a number of housing authorities around the country, had some of the commissioners from Charleston there.
Yeah.
So overall, it was good.
Very cool.
But I'm so glad to be home.
I know you are.
I am.
Because there's no place like Vegas,
I am
right?
so glad to be home. And it really gives me an appreciation of the good work that we're doing. I know sometimes in staff meetings, people look at me sideways like, "Man, when is he going to smile?" I'll smile more when we can deliver more people from where they are to where they want to be.
Yeah.
But, not to get into the comparison thing, but to get into the comparison
That's
team.
right.
I'm so proud of y'all.
Thank you.
We're doing some great stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Look, this is the whole reason, like the work we do to become the premier housing agency in the state. We actually are on par with some of the housing authorities in the nation, some of the affordable housing developers in the nation, right? And so that's why it's so important to sometimes get outside of our bubble. Mm-hmm. We know what we're doing it well, but we actually are becoming a national model. So I appreciate you for representing us.
And let me just add one other thing. This is just a competitive part of me. I look at the innovative awards and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That I believe that if we just applied for them, we would get the partnerships and collaboration. So everybody's used to when Lewis leaves, he comes back with a laundry list of stuff for us to do. I like and even get more involved. I was sharing with some of the commissioners, getting more involved on the national level, with staff getting more involved, because one of the things that I'm really, really excited about is not only the things that we're doing here in our community, but I would love to see those things replicated around the country.
Absolutely.
Because again, it's helping move people from where they are to where they want to be.
I love it. Well, good. We get to talk about some of those new innovative things today. I'm so excited because I get to brag today. My squad is in the house. My cousins from all the housing that we get to do. A lot of folks are familiar with the Housing Choice Voucher, what most folks call Section 8, but they forget about public housing and they don't know what affordable housing programs even means, right? So we're going to kick off today. We got two department heads, Ava Mitchell-Crew and Patricia Stevens. Welcome to the living room session, ladies.
Good morning.
Glad to have you. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, let's just kick it off. Ava Mitchell-Crew. I love saying that name. It's all hyphenated. It sounds important. So talk to us about public housing. What even is public housing?
So public housing is a federally subsidized program. And here in Nevada, we have 1,840 units and families that are on our program. The difference between us and affordable is that we own the property and they are in units that we own. As far as Section 8, though, it's different because they have a voucher and they can go into the private sector and find housing. So that's where the difference lies.
Okay.
And shout out to my predecessors who had the wherewithal to say not only are we going to have a public housing program, which is HUD funded, we're going to go out and we're going to buy property.
Right.
We're going to buy property with the proceeds from those rents and things of that nature, and we're going to set that up as affordable that HUD does not own.
Yeah, so that takes me to you, Patricia Stevens.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to us about our non-aided housing. People don't hear that term, don't know what it means. What is our non-aided housing program?
So our non-aided programs are owned by the Housing Authority as well. But they are not subsidized. So we don't get any subsidy from the federal government. So what drives those properties are the rents that we bring in from the residents. Now, the Affordable Housing Department has grown exponentially, I'd say over probably the last 10 years or so. So with our non-aided programs, then we also have, as Mr. Jordan mentioned, our RAD properties as well. So in totality, the entire department has 1,951 units. We have non-aided, meaning they're non-subsidized. We have our RAD properties. We have single-family homes. We have mobile home parks as well, where individuals either own their mobile homes and lease the lot from the agency, or they rent the mobile homes themselves. And we've got 19 properties total and 126 scattered site houses all over the valley from Henderson clear up to Centennial.
So if I do the math, that's almost 4,000 units of affordable housing that aren't a part of the Section 8 program.
Right. Yes.
That between the two of your departments you are managing. What does RAD mean? Like, am I doing Valley Girl stuff from 1980? Oh my gosh, it's RAD. What does RAD mean?
So it is the oh my God, I always forget the acronym for
Rental
Assistance Demonstration Program.
There you go.
So those particular properties were former public housing properties, where we've leveraged those properties with bonds and tax credits and CDBG funds to rehab those developments. So those developments have left Ava's portfolio and come over into the affordable housing portfolio. And as Mr. Jordan mentioned, the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority was one of the first housing authorities in the nation to do the first RAD conversion back in 2014. It was Landsman Gardens, which is located out in Henderson.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone has done more than we have since then.
I don't believe so.
Like we're the leading edge in taking older properties and converting them over, because oftentimes what comes with that is some upgrades and some what we call rehab, but improvements to the property before or during a conversion, right? No one has done more than we have. I get to say we because I'm here now. I know a lot of it happened before I got here, but indeed. So, Ava, in addition to some of the RAD changes, so there's stuff converting from public housing over to the affordable side of the ledger, if you will. What are some other changes that you're seeing in public housing?
Well, like you said, some of our developments have gone over to Patricia. So now currently I have 15 developments and 386 scattered site houses. But some of the challenges that I face is if I only have 1,840 units and I have about 42,000 people on my wait list, there's not enough units to go for these people that are in need. couple of things that are happening that could help this imbalance of supply and demand is one of the things that Mr. Jordan and yourself, you are developing some land that sat with the Housing Authority for many, many years. And I know Patricia and I had spoken out to previous executive directors, hey, can we develop this land? So it's a good thing we are, because that will also help. Yeah. Something else that'll help is the county has done some changes in zoning, so that will allow us to do more housing, hopefully different density types like duplexes and such. And then lastly, the BLM, they set aside 430 acres in Clark County for affordable housing. So that's something really exciting, and I can't wait for us to be a part of that.
So tell me what BLM means.
Bureau of Land Management. And so, they own a lot of property in the state, and so they have a program now that local and state governments would also include us, the Housing Authority, and we could put in reservations for land. So for Clark County, it's 430 acres.
Yeah. So a lot of people aren't aware that about 80 to 85% of the land in the state actually belongs to the federal government, right? And so developing housing becomes challenging because there's not enough land. And I know folks say there's plenty of land, but most of it is actually controlled by the Bureau of Land Management, a part of the federal government, and it's not open for development. So that creates some challenges for us when we are trying to do these new developments.
So for the sake of our audience, because sometimes we talk about this stuff like it's so regular, Ava, spend a few minutes, as you talked about the three things that can be done. That fourth one, the whole CNI. CNI falls under where Ava is right now, right?
Correct.
Talk about how we're going to go from X amount of units to X amount of units.
So CNI is very exciting for a whole agency. Right now, we are in the process of relocating phases 2 and 3. We already completed phase 1 relocation, and that was 56 units. Now we're going to relocate 76 households. Actually, there was some demolition that started last week, so everybody's all excited. It's on H and I streets and Morgan and McWilliams, so everyone's like, yay, it's finally happening. So we're very excited. We work very closely with Karen Schnag, who is the CNI director, and right now so it started, Marble Manor had 235 units, and now it's going to
627.
Yeah. So we're excited. So all the people who have been relocated, they will have the opportunity to move back. And then there will also be some market rate units as well. So it's just an exciting time. And if you get a chance, drive through the neighborhood and you'll start to see the demolition. And it's just great.
You took the words out of my mouth, because based on my interaction, be it the barbershop, wherever I hang out, y'all ain't gonna do that. They've been talking about that for years.
Right.
My grandmama used to tell me about that. To drive down those streets and see those piles, and those piles representing, you're talking about old housing. And I want to be clear, that was habitable, but most of us wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah.
And we recognize that, did something to move those families out. Now, knocking those places down, rebuilding them, it's just symbolic of what can happen when teams get together, including the residents.
Absolutely.
And say, this is what we're going to do. Absolutely.
Yeah, so, the residents are a key partner. A CNI means Choice Neighborhood Initiative. And the choice belongs to the residents, right? And so it's been really important from day one that they've been involved every step of the way. And now, as they're being relocated temporarily, and I say temporarily because everybody that wants to gets to come back once the new Marble Manor is completed. And in the meantime, they get to move off-site to something that's comparable to what they had, right? If you're in a 3-bedroom, you get to move into a 3-bedroom, and they get to watch the rebirth of the community. So it's starting. It's actually happening. Very cool. Patricia, tell me what NSP is and why do I care?
NSP stands for the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. This was a program that was started roughly in 2008 during Obama's first administration, and it was during a time where housing was drastically affected here with the recession and a lot of foreclosures. So properties were purchased by both the county, the city, Henderson, and North Las Vegas, and were set for complete rehab. The homes were made Energy Star efficient, and we were able to lease those properties to low-income individuals that didn't exceed a certain area median income, which was 50%. And that program has really grown and has given individuals the opportunity to, number one, not be in an apartment, to be in a single family home, to allow their children to be in schools in areas that probably weren't made readily available to them prior to that. And it's given people a sense of pride and community to be able to have a home, a place for their kids to play in the front yard and to play in the backyard. So it has been a very successful program for us.
Yeah, it's really about having families or giving families the opportunity to live in better resourced neighborhoods and closer to where the jobs are, in stronger parts of our local school district, like all around, really looking at quality of life for those families. That's really cool. It's a lot of work, I'm sure, because they're scattered sites, right? They're all over the cities, the counties. You just mentioned all the major large jurisdictions participated in acquiring those homes and basically turn them over you to manage.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And another thing that makes me proud is that unless you knew the addresses of these sites, you can't ride through a neighborhood and say, oh, that must be one. That must be an NSP.
Right.
And obviously we want to strive to get to that same level with our Section 8 program. But it also all goes back to how we manage and how we partner.
Absolutely.
And that's really important.
Well, we want whatever we build, whatever we own and manage, to be as good as or better than everything surrounding it. That's why the opportunity to redevelop Marble Manor is so important, right?
And we set the standard.
And we want to set the standard. Exactly. Folks shouldn't go, oh, that's Section 8, that's public housing. That we want folks to say, that is a lovely community.
Right.
And that's
how do I get in there?
How do I get in there? Yeah. How do I get in there? That's an important question. In fact, I'm going to let folks call y'all in. If you have some questions for my housing mavens, my housing divas up in here today, give us a call, 702-647-3688. We did have folks on, DeWanda, whom you both work with, talking about the wait list. And that's always a question we get. How do I get in the housing? How do I get on the wait list? So your wait lists are different in some respects. So talk a little bit about the differences, Ava.
So for public housing to apply, you would go through Rent Cafe and you would put in all your information, and then you would get like a number or such, just in case if you had to go back in to update information. If you're not able to utilize Rent Cafe, then the staff will meet with you. You can call in and they can meet with you, and you can come in and do a paper application.
Do we have any lists open for public housing as we speak?
No. So all of my lists are closed. My conventional list is closed. And right now there's like 21,000 people on that list. My Hampton Court list is also closed, and there's like about 7,400. And my senior disabled, there's 5,900. And we only have 370 units designated as senior disabled, and my waiting list has 5,900 people.
Right.
Thus your point earlier about just needing more housing.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Patricia, talk a little bit about how the wait lists operate? Because you've got several different programs.
Yes.
And so the wait lists don't necessarily look the same way or operate the same way that the conventional public housing wait lists operate.
Correct. While the process is still the same as far as going through Rent Cafe to be able to apply, and if you, as Ava mentioned, if you are having difficulty with doing that, you can come to the office and have staff help you with that. I do want to remind individuals, though, same thing, our wait lists are closed as well.
Mm-hmm.
However, we do have some properties that do site-based lists, meaning you would actually physically go to the property to get on those lists. But across all of our programs, veterans, we are never closed for veterans.
Okay.
Even though wait lists are reflected as closed, if you are a veteran, you have the ability to apply 365 days a year.
Okay.
We never close that for them, so they do get a top preference on all of our wait lists. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think we have a caller. We're going to take that call right now. Welcome to the living room sessions. Sit down on this sofa and tell us what's going on.
Hello.
Hello, caller.
Yeah, hi. My wife has been on Section 8 housing.
Mm-hmm.
How do I find a location to sign up for this? I'm a disabled senior, limited income.
So does your wife currently have her Section 8 voucher and you're looking for an apartment, or do you need to sign up for Section 8?
My wife passed away. I need to sign up.
Okay. You know what? Do you know who her caseworker is for Section 8? Because actually, you can just call in and let us know that, and Section 8 can work with you to determine whether or not you're eligible to be head of household.
Right. I hear what you're saying. Can you give me the phone number?
How about this, caller? Why don't you leave us your number, and we'll have them.
I can do that. That's better.
We'll have them call you this afternoon.
All right.
There's a lot of circumstances we're dealing with, and we want to make sure we give you the right information.
Okay, you ready for the phone number?
No, don't do it over the air, because I know people who will call you. We don't want you to be as popular as us. So once we take you off the air, our producer will get your name and number, and someone will call you back and just walk you through.
Well,
the process.
God bless. I'm really enjoying the radio program. I listen every day.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And our condolences on your wife's
passing.
passing.
Thoughts and prayers with your family.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Yeah, this happens a lot for folks, right? Our seniors are all the transitions for folks, right? And we always encourage you to stay in touch with us, with our folks. I always want to give this number out, and I always forget my own phone number, but I will give a number out to our callers before we head into break. You know, I got to put my glasses on, I can't see. So my number is 702-477-3116. That's my desk. You can call me if you have some questions, and I might not be the one to answer it, but I'll be sure to find someone who can answer that question for you. All right? Thanks so much, caller. We appreciate you dialing in. So talk a little more, Ava, about your senior housing, your locations, what type of housing, single story, flat, what's going on with the type of housing you offer for seniors.
So my senior designated housing properties are Arthur Sartini Plaza, which is located on Brush Street. And there's 220 units in that development. And then I have Levy Gardens, which is on Washington Street, and that's 150 units for seniors.
Oh, wow.
Wow, okay.
And it's just
everything
not
else
enough.
is converted?
Everything else,
Wow.
yeah.
I know.
Family. So I only have those two sites. We are getting ready to do some infrastructure improvements at Sartini. We're going to do a new roof, HVACs, and windows. And so we're going to start meeting with the residents to go through that, to let them know that. And and Sartini also got new elevators, and Levy Gardens also received new elevators.
Very cool, very cool. So, on the other side of this radio break, I want to ask about the celebration of aging, Mr. Jordan.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because it was a really good event for us, and I think you share the stories the best. All right.
All right.
Okay. We'll get back to you at the other side of this radio station break. All right, we're back. Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Jordan, so because we do love our seniors, we had an awesome event a couple of weeks back. You want to share with our listeners about?
You know, it's important to us that not only are we providing, housing, that we're also having a positive impact on quality of life for all of those that we serve. And just shout out to the entire team. This event we call Celebrative Aging. It's, headed up by our resident services, but the property management and affordable property management play a significant role in making sure we pull it together. Does anyone know the number? 300, 200?
We had about 300 folks at this year's celebration.
And if you just want to use your imagination for a minute, imagine the senior prom.
Yes.
Where folks from, and that's why when Ava said she only had 2 senior designated properties, I'm like, wait a minute. But then when you look at other properties
like Rulon Earl and Dorothy Luberta, which are,
And just as, I guess just as competitive as we were in high school, you know, Uncle and Auntie came ready to stretch their stuff.
Man, and they showed up and showed out.
They did. And once again, you talk about partnership and collaboration. Shout out to the Orleans Hotel.
Yeah.
We just did an excellent job of not only the setup, but the food. Special thanks to our team. If you can imagine 300 seniors, with, wheelchairs and mobility issues, trying to get food. No, you sit there like you're in a restaurant. You check off on these makeshift menus we put together.
Right.
And again, shout out to our team who served each one of those individuals and didn't eat until those folks got to eat. I'm retired, Ken Young. Retired Sergeant Ken Young. He's normally our master of ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Just a good time, and we have a DJ who actually is one of our residents.
Yeah.
And so had a number of guests come in. People tease me. They tell me that I don't necessarily let my hair down. I've been doing this for a while, and I can count on one hand when I go to these things. It's just I don't know what it is, but I can dance. I don't like dance, and I rather bop my head and watch you dance.
Yeah.
The mayor walked in. Shelley Berkeley walked in,
came in
and said, "Lewis, let's dance." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And I think whatever I got out there and did, I probably need to brush up. But the fact still remains.
Yeah.
The mayor came and the mayor talked a little bit about just the collaboration and the partnership. We had a few of our board members there. But more importantly, and I mentioned this at the event, with all that's going on in life, I just hope for that 3 hours that someone just had a uninterrupted good time.
It was a good time.
And again, these are just little things we do. I think coming up in the next couple weeks, we have our family self-sufficiency graduation.
Right.
But it's so important that we celebrate people. And we're going to also put out a public service announcement. These holiday times that are coming up are not necessarily the best times, everybody. Mm-hmm. And we need to be, aware of that. And we need to be cognizant of the fact that we can either walk in and, just add extra hi, extra hello, extra hug. But just ending it on a good note. The celebration was really, really nice.
It was good.
Had raffles. People won different things, but people felt good. We treated it as a top-notch event, and shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah.
I learned a long time ago. I think it was Tom Joyner who said you got to party with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just enough to say let's throw on the electric slide and let's put on our fancy clothes. But in addition to having a good time, what can you walk away with?
Right.
And we have a number of sponsors who come out that will say, here are things that we're doing. So,
it was an information fair, health fair going on too.
Yeah.
Ronnie O's that DJ. He's always good every year.
He does it up. Yeah.
And Dr. Lawrence Weekly was our speaker.
That's right.
So it is a top-notch event, and it really does celebrate our seniors, our elders, and try to keep them connected in ways that they may not get a chance to.
Shout out to the mayor for getting me out of that chair.
Yeah, Mayor Berkeley was dancing too. It was something.
And she just had a great time. And I tell our residents and staff alike, when we have the kind of partnerships we have with the city, with the county, with the other jurisdictions, it really speaks to a collective effort of showing how affordable housing is important.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we think about the Choice Neighborhood Initiative.
Right.
We would not have gotten that grant, $50 million,
right,
had we not shown the ability to work well
to partner well with folks. That's true. So, Patricia, I have a question for you, because a lot of folks do not know that we actually own and operate mobile home parks.
Yes.
We may be one of 3 housing authorities in the nation still doing it. It's not common anymore.
No, it is not.
Yeah, so talk about our locations and the populations we're serving.
So we have 2 mobile home parks, both of which are senior communities, 55 and older. The first one is Dorothy Kidd Park. It is located at 5380 East Flamingo Road. There are 107 spaces there at the property. Primarily, they are owner-occupied units. They lease the space from us. And a few years back, we did get some funding from the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. So we do have 5 rentals that are there in the property. And as a matter of fact, under your guidance, we are actually looking in developing, because we have some open lots. The property was built, I think the first units were probably installed back in the late 70s, early 80s. So we do have some empty spaces that are there, and we're looking to see if we can do some tiny homes in those spaces as well. And then we have another park, which is called Rule on Earl. It is located at 3901 East Stewart. And that one is in 2 phases. So the front half of the park is owner-occupied. It's 65 units that are there. The back portion of the property, back in 2013, that back portion of the property had been vacant for many years. The lots had already been developed. But through some partnerships with Clark County, we were able to go ahead and put 57 brand new mobile homes in those spaces. So all of those are rentals. So we have those 57 units at the back side of the park as well.
Yeah, you two are doing amazing things across all housing types, models, formats, served populations. Like it's a lot with the limited resources we get. So here's my next question. I'm going to start with you, Ava. A few people hear about this thing called HOTMA, HOTMA. And the feds will give you some acronyms and nobody knows what that means. And they change the date. It's effective today. It's effective tomorrow. It's never effective. It's effective right now. It was effective yesterday. So I'm even confused. Could y'all enlighten us, especially tell us how is it going to affect the residents we serve? What is HOTMA and how is it impacting your programs?
So HOTMA stands for Housing Opportunities Through Modernization Act. President Obama signed it into law back in 2016. However, the final rule did not come out until 2023 because there's so many provisions in this comprehensive law that it took HUD time to break it down. And you are correct. We have had multiple go, stop throughout this whole process. Actually, there's still a lot to come, and that hasn't even been started. But initially, the purpose of HOTMA was to have some, instead of having all these various programs, they were looking to make some of the things be common. So PBVs, project-based vouchers, public housing, Section 8. And the other thing was to streamline the processes, actually, not just for the residents, but also for housing providers. Mm-hmm. So that was the intent. There have been pieces that are now effective. So, for example, back in July of 2025, one of the things that became effective was this form. It is now 9886A, and you're right. There's so many.
I don't need to know all that. Just tell me how. Am I paying more rent or less rent? I'm trying to figure out.
I hear you.
I know.
Another tattoo I gotta get now.
So actually, yes. Basically, for the residents, there will be some significant changes, and even for the applicants. So, for example, which this has not started yet, but one of the things that'll change is normally when we are doing interims or you're coming in as an applicant, we look at your income backwards. So we look at the preceding 12 months. Mm-hmm. But once this part of HOTMA is enacted, for initial occupancy and interims, we're going to be looking at upcoming 12 months. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely a change that everybody's going to have to get used to. Yeah. At some point, they will be doing self-certification of assets, so you'll be able to self-certify if your assets are less than $50,000. So overall, some of the changes will make less paperwork, but we have to see as they implement them and go on. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about was income exclusions. So we always had exclusions when we did rent, but what they did with HOTMA is they used to be more broad. Now they are making them more narrow. So, for example, even a definition, how we used to define a minor was anyone who was under 18 years of age. Mm-hmm. But now under HOTMA, how it's being looked at as the new definition, it's anybody under 18 of age other than the head of household or spouse. So they're narrowing in more on definitions and income exclusions to make it clearer instead of just being so broad-based.
Right. So my income exclusion is money you didn't count towards my household income. So if it was broader, was that more favorable to me, do you think? Or now that it's narrower and you're not excluding as many things, it makes my income look higher?
No, they are still excluding pretty much the same exclusions. They just narrowed it down, for example. So non-recurring income. So basically that's income that you're not going to get the upcoming 12 months, and now it's based on what the family says. Mm-hmm. And things like that would be stimulus checks. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to get those. Well, we might, I don't know, but so stimulus and any like major milestones. So if you got married and someone gave you a large sum of money, we're not going to be counting that as your income. Where in the past, things like that were counted.
Wow. Okay. So Patricia, how is HOTMA impacting non-aided, or is it only impacting any programs that say like a RAD project?
It would impact our project-based voucher residents that are residing in our RAD developments, because those fall under our Housing Choice Voucher program. So all of the inclusions, exclusions, changes, and everything that Ava just spoke about, yes, it would impact those residents and or applicants directly.
Yeah. All right. Hey, if you got some questions for us, 702-647-3688. Give us a call and jump in on this conversation that we're having in our living room session here. So, one of the things that sounds like it's really important is if you applied and you're on a waiting list, that you keep your information updated. Because how would I know about all these HOTMA changes? You're going to have to tell those applicants, hey, the rules may have changed a little bit. Is that an accurate way to look at it?
Yes, and plus it's on our website. It's in our ACOP, which stands for Admissions and Continued Occupancy, which is basically the rules and regulations that my department follows. So we have updated our ACOP, and we have it separated. The chapters that would impact HOTMA is we have A, which tells you how we do it now, and then B, which tells you once this part of HOTMA is enacted, this is how we will look at it. So it's separate so you can see both sides.
Wow. Okay. That still sounds like a lot to me. Like, I might be easily confused.
Well, so then they can reach out. They can reach out to us. They can reach out to eligibility. If you're a resident, then I would recommend that you definitely go to the resident meetings, because the managers do talk about things like this, and you can ask questions at that time as well.
So managers are meeting monthly. So yes. At every site where there's a manager on site, which is every site, there are regular monthly meetings, and this is where residents can stay up to date on anything that's changing. It's where y'all get feedback from them. Yeah. Okay, good stuff. All right, we got maybe 15 minutes or less. Patricia, what is the one thing you wish everybody understood about your housing programs?
I would have to say, and I can't just say that it's just for affordable. I just want people to understand, and I think all of us sitting here can relate, that if you're out in public or you run into somebody and you tell them, where do you work? What do you do? Well, I work for the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. Instantly. Section 8.
Yeah.
That's all they think the agency does. And it is not. There's so many different facets to what we do. I look at it more as a hand up than a handout.
Yeah.
Ultimately, our goal is to get individuals to the point where they can be more self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And to kind of graduate out of housing and make room for that next set of individuals that need the help that we have. And it's not just, like we said, it's not just housing. I mean, our supportive services department does absolutely amazing work. And they don't just support the residents, they support my staff, they support Ava's staff, they support the employees.
Yes.
There's just a large facet of things that happen at the agency, and I think that's just the biggest thing. And to get rid of that stigma that is there, it's interesting. We also, what we haven't touched on is that we have construction going on right now with newer developments that are happening. We have the Senator Joseph Neal property that is under construction right now off of Yale Street.
Yeah.
We have another development that is under construction at 28th and Sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
We have another one at Duncan and Edwards.
Right.
We have a second phase of Bennett Plaza that's going in as well. So as much as we talk about the RAD program and being able to rehab the properties that we have, and that's great for our existing residents,
Mm-hmm.
but we all know that Nevada leads the nation right now
Mm-hmm.
in not having enough affordable housing. And what's been most exciting is for us to bring on and add new units to our portfolio to be able to provide housing to more individuals in the community. We still have a long ways to go,
Mm-hmm.
but we're making strides and moving in that direction. We've never had the level of rehab and new construction.
Right.
I've been here 17 years, and it's just we've never seen this.
Yeah.
And it's an exciting time.
It's very exciting. Ava, I'm going to ask you the same question. What is it that you wish people knew about public housing that they don't seem to know?
So I like that Patricia said it's a hand up. You know, I lived in public housing for a few years in New Jersey, and I understand the community that people build around each other. They kind of hug each other and help each other get through various things. So I'm very pleased to see that even doesn't just happen in New Jersey. It also happens out here in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that I would like people to know is that we are here for you. It is our job to provide decent, safe, and affordable housing. And if you have questions at any time, please reach out, and we will be more than happy to sit down and explain whatever it is that you need to know, because there's a lot. Like HOTMA alone is a lot. So if you have any questions, reach out to the on-site staff. If I need to be a part of that conversation, I'm more than happy to participate. But remember, we are here for you, and that's what I'd like them to know.
I love that. I love that.
Outstanding.
Well, you know, Mr. Jordan, you always get the last word.
Well, I wanted to, first of all, thank our colleagues and guests for coming in today. There's a lot going on. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the government shutdown.
Right.
We're into day 13, and for our listening audience, it has not had an impact on us yet.
Right.
But down the road, it could be. I'm hopeful that our federal delegations around the country will cooler heads will prevail, and in that whole process of negotiation, someone has to give up something to get something else.
Right.
What I'm most proud of is that as we go into these uncertainties like shutdowns,
right,
I'm proud of the preparation that we did. One of the things that we talked about, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute. But one of the things that came out of the Phoenix conference last week at NARA, there was a tremendous amount of gloom and doom.
Right.
Because folks had just had enough to pay this landlord, just had enough to pay salaries. And again, this team has done what it needed to do.
Right.
And I want to be clear, it can't last forever.
Right.
But we can stretch it out a little more, and it's important.
Yeah.
It's important, and when I look at what is it that I want people to understand, and this is why we've upped our marketing budget. I want people to understand all the different things we do.
Right.
Case in point, last week we were over at Hullum. I remember when I first moved here, and Patricia and Ava will admit, or not admit, but agree. Hullum was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
And when I say bad shape, this is one of the Lewisisms.
Right.
I drive around these properties all the time.
Right.
And shout out to my maintenance team. The properties may be old, but we keep them clean.
That's right.
I see graffiti on the wall, within hour or so, it's taken down. And so, as we look at, yes, we need more housing. We need a better quality of housing. And obviously we need greater partnerships and money to make these things happen. So I'm excited about the preparation we did. I'm excited, and every now and then, in our setup, it's very clear, or it's very okay when I run in and say, hey, I got this great idea, and our CFO said, where are you going to get the money from?
That's right.
It took me a while to get used to that, but the reality is that the way we prioritize things,
right,
the way we put things in an order that makes us more sustainable, I'm very proud of. So last week was Harlem. Another event we had last week, we had our, I guess this is our second annual landlord symposium.
Yeah, that's right.
If you don't hear anything we said today, folks, landlords, we need you.
That's right.
And we need for you to be business partners with us, to work with our voucher holders, to give them choice of neighborhoods. So there's a lot going on. We're hoping that at the federal level, this shutdown ends sooner than later.
Right.
But for right now, as we speak, the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority is in good shape, and we're going to weather this storm, as I know my colleagues around the country will.
Yeah, we're open for business. That's what I tell folks.
We're open for business.
We are open for business.
I like that.
No doubt. Thanks for shouting out the landlord housing fair.
Yeah.
It was well attended, and we do have a landlord liaison. And I think one of the things that is separating us, Mr. Jordan, from others is who we think our partners are.
Yes.
Residents are our partners.
That's right.
Landlords are our partners. Other affordable housing providers are our partners, not-for-profits, the business sector, and government, to name a few. And so I always ask you to talk about the pillars, because they have become sort of our guiding, our North Star, if you will.
Go. And again, thank you for saying that, because it's so important, that we understand in the community, as Ava and Patricia talked about, the community knowing what it is we're doing. And Section 8 is a very important part of it. But there are four pillars that hold us up. One is housing. We need more housing. So the constant effort to provide more housing, either build housing through the landlords, acquire housing. Another one is our residents, and helping, and I love this term, moving our residents from where they are to where they want to be. Communications, both internally and externally, is that third pillar. We got to be able to recognize who our customers are, and that we're customers to others. And when I first got here, that was kind of the sum of my pillars. I had those three pillars, and one day, I don't know when it hit me, but I said, Lewis, how do you expect people to do that unless you have the best, well-trained workforce in the nation? And so that fourth, and for me, probably the most significant, making sure that as a leader, I'm providing everything necessary to get my team to do those three things.
Yeah.
And so that's what holds us up as an organization. And at any given time, I'll go in a meeting and I'll say, what are the four pillars? And people say, oh, Lou, those are a lot of words you want us to remember. But I'll say, what are you doing? And they'll say, I'm working on blank. And I can put those pillars up.
Right.
And each one of those tasks or activities will succinctly fit under one of the
pillars. Yeah, that's been the wonderful thing. Well, you know what? As always, we enjoy hanging out in this living room session. I want to thank my squad for showing up today. I appreciate y'all. A lot of times you do get lost in the shuffle, right? Because everybody knows Section 8. So thank you for coming in today and sharing some of the stuff we do. Y'all gonna come back now, because when HOTMA hits, you have to come back and explain what that means.
Right, and shout out to both of you all. I know that structurally, I don't get a chance to spend as much time with you as I used to. They're like, amen on that. But at the same time, I'm hearing all kinds of good stuff. And more importantly, I'm seeing good stuff. So keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you. We thank you for being in these living room sessions. And thank you for We'll be back on the second Monday of every month, 10:30. Thank you.
All right. Good job, guys.